Am I live? Okay, so I'm live. Uh, yeah, like I don't know. Anyways, the title of this post for my next post on the culture proof delves deeper into my protest of NAFTA. You know, when NAFTA first started, I was probably in university, right, and also working my ass off during the summertime full time. So I didn't know what the big deal was, but even back then there was some protest over NAFTA. Um, but at this point, like in my, right now regarding NAFTA, my protest over NAFTA is not that it's not good business theory or not good economic theory. You know, sometimes as with an economics degree, it's not that I disagree with free trade, but I think for Canada's situation, there are urgent fires that if there was NAFTA and the free flow of finances, it would just stoke those fires. Like as soon as the good times start to roll again, we would forget about the poor, right? Already the income distribution is huge. I shared, and for my post, I'll include the article I shared today. Just in the Greater Toronto area, 49% of the population, like attractive single moms, right, with no life, right, got to work their ass off, probably low income. And then there's a group that's making like $480,000 a year. And then the middle class is shrinking. Like young millennials priced out of the Greater Toronto area, so they might have to commute to work like over an hour and a half, 2 hours. Things are like the gaps are widening. And if we sign NAFTA again, everybody's just gonna forget it. It's like, oh, free flow of finance from venture capital and Wall Street, beyond which we have no idea where the money comes from, like some Bitcoin, some giant Bitcoin on somebody's laptop, right? Some Bitcoin worth like $10 billion, right? Backing all these like 20 venture capital firms, starting crazy ideas. And everybody's got their hand out for ISIS terror money. All right. This is not about manufacturing, like General Motors. So I'm going to touch on General Motors as a prime example of what Canada is and what those workers did right. All right. Coming from the article about the widening gap in Greater Toronto area, the article is speaking about Canadian values. All right. It's socialism. All right. And I hate to be Trump, you know, speak like Trump, but I have to say, if you're here for economic reasons, I think maybe you got your heart back in India, you got your heart back in Hong Kong, all right? That's why that's why when I grew up in Canada, they say, you're whitewashed. I say, yeah, I'm whitewashed. There's no going back to Vietnam for me. Only as a tourist. Only as a whitewashed, Western, Vietnamese guy. There's no going home. That's why I'm whitewashed. But if you come here as sort of like a engineer, you got your heart back in India, like, you know, it's like, I'm not whitewashed. I'm whitewashed. I'm Western. All right? That to me is what I hear when Trump talks about immigration. All right. And so you come to Canada, right? Back home is booming. Hong Kong, everybody's becoming rich. India, everybody's becoming rich, right? Canada is socialist. All right. And yet, on the tube, we see Kardashian, right? We see Paris Hilton. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's America, man. Out here is that single mom. All right. So they come here. They're so cosmopolitan. And yet they're totally lost. All right. in Canada because it's socialism. Right? The people, whichever government wins, right? Like during election time, that's when we all debate. That's when we all disagree. But whoever ends up winning, we all fall behind the government. Like this current government, its platform is education, the senior citizens, right, and like the environment, and that's what we chose. And so if you're just starting out, whatever, all the money's there. With what did I say? The environment, senior citizens, education, right? So you need a job. Those are sectors that are booming, right? And then as good Canadians, we go to work for corporations, and we're happy, and the corporations thrive. You understand? That's socialism. The government leads, we fall in line, but there's a market economy. When we show up for work, we're happy, we're productive. In the United States, you might already know, it's the reverse. We make the corporations make us happy. Our employment makes us happy, right? And then that makes the government is strong. When business is strong because the employees are happy. So the United States business leads, and its relationship with the employees very important. In Canada, government leads, its relationship with the people very important, right? So that's, I am white-wand. There's no going back from it. You know what I mean? So that's all, like, when Trump talks about immigration, that's what I hear. Because now we got a bunch of like people who are like so sophisticated and totally lost, right? Because we watch American media, they're totally lost, right? There's a meme going on. I don't know if it's fake or real. Justin Bieber lives in a $32 million house. You know what a $32 million house is? It's like Mar-a-Lago. It's a hotel. A $32 million house is Mar-a-Lago. It's not a house. It's like half of Disney World. All right? And yet you're so sophisticated, you think that's the way? You're totally not. Because you look back home, India, Hong Kong, wherever you came from. And it's booming. And people will stay back there. Purely for economic reasons. Not because of ideology, right? So your heart might be back there. So that's the immigrant transition, right? So that's why I hear, so like Trump, I know I respect Senator John McCain very much, but also as an immigrant who had to make that transition, like he had to, like, there's no going back. I was sort of like forced to make that transition. Right? There's no going back. I'm not going to overthrow the Vietnamese government. I'm not like that. It's like, so the people have chosen, you're not to be socialist and one party and stuff. I'm not going to try to turn it into democracy. I'm just monitoring human rights and stuff, but not, fairness and stuff. See if they're keeping to their promise, but I'm not going to turn it into democracy. There's no going back for me, right? So that's my transition as an immigrant, as a refugee. But if you're here because Google US is paying more than Google India, like, your heart's back in India. I have to say, you're not whitewashed. If you have to say, I think you just said it. So if you're Canadian, it's government that leads, and whoever wins, we sort of like follow their platform for the next 5 years. All right. And then when we go work, we're happy, productive. And so corporations get the effects of that. Whereas in the United States, companies lead. The relationship companies, employees pay us bonuses, salaries, commission. As long as we're happy, the after effects of that is that we want government to monitor companies and keep everybody honest. So that's totally different in the United States and Canada. And yet, if you work for Minix Canada, if you got transferred from Minix India to Minix Canada, right? You're not really westernized per se. You can always go back. Your heart might still be back there. You know, you understand the transition experience? And so there's an influx of immigrants. There's this whole cultural transition. Cultural is sort of like chaos, right? Everybody has their hand out for ISIS money. God knows where it comes from. It's totally opaque, right? Just seeing in those venture capital boardrooms are retired generals. Freaking, like, they own a subsidiary of some security black ops firm. It's all crazy shit. So everybody's losing sight up in Canada of what it means to be Canadian and what Canada, how it's organized. That's why I'm protesting NAFTA. Not because as an economist, I think free trade is bad. That's Canadian. I think we're losing sight of priorities. And I don't think anybody, you know, the auto workers, they stood up for Canadian values. They got their deal, right? Because Canadian values follows the government. The government is socialist, what do you call welfare, well-being government. They stood up for those rights, the rights or those values. And now they're going to go work, be extremely productive. GM's going to benefit from that. But in America, it'll be the reverse. Relationship between GM and workers are good. Then the government will get the side benefit. We're just keeping everybody honest. Everybody makes sure they pay taxes, you know, healthcare, all that stuff. But up here is a corporation that gets the side benefit, so long as the people true to the values of this socialist country. That's why I'm protesting NAFTA. Well, you know, kid.